Hello and welcome back. So this is going to be my Sephora VIB sale recommendations and wish list video. I love filming and watching these videos, but I always say, don't buy something just because it's on sale. Only get something you've been really wanting or restocking on a favorite item. I will put all of the dates and the codes down in the description box, so I'm going to show you some of my favorite items from Sephora and then a few items that I'm maybe thinking about buying. I have a whole playlist of Sephora recommendations videos actually, so I will link those in the description box, and I'm pretty sure I have talked about foundation before in this. I always say to get a sample of a high-end foundation just because you never know how it's going to work on your skin. But my favorite high-end foundation is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Foundation. I'm wearing this today. The color I have is Cosmic G15, and it is a perfect match for me. It has yellow undertones. The lasting power on this is pretty good, not amazing, but pretty good, maybe 10 hours, something like that. I'd say it's probably medium coverage and more of a natural finish. It's not too matte, it's not really dewy per se, but yeah, I really like this. If you're interested in a foundation or a primer, try to get a sample before the sale and then to see if it actually works for you. As far as high-end eyeshadows, honestly, my favorite eyeshadows are more affordable, like ColourPop and Juvia's Place or indie brands, things you cannot get at Sephora. But I will say that I do like the Anastasia palettes. I think they're really good. You've seen them a million times. This is sultry. I'm wearing this one today. I really love this one. It is more cool toned, which is nice because, as we all know, we've been bombarded with warm neutral palettes forever. And actually, I was going to buy the Norvina palette at the Sephora VIB sale, but I already bought it because Macy's is currently having 15% off makeup. I feel like that's maybe something a lot of people don't know about, that before every Sephora VIB sale, Macy's will have 15% off makeup. So usually the spring sale is 15%, usually in the fall it's 20%. Macy's doesn't do 20%, but I don't know that a lot of people know about that. I'm pretty sure that's going on about now. So it's usually before the VIB sale. Anyway, I went ahead and bought the Norvina palette because I thought, well, I'd be getting the same discount, so why not just get it now? I've used it 3 times and so far I do love it. Also, if you do have Ulta available to you, keep in mind that Ulta almost always does a 20% coupon either right before or right after the Sephora VIB sale as well. So yeah, and that's the thing about Ulta is obviously Ulta is only in the US and I think online Canada, but they do 20% coupons 4 or 5 times a year. So I buy most of my high-end makeup at Ulta, honestly, but there are a few brands that are only sold at Sephora. One of those brands is Hourglass, and I have recommended this, I think, in every Sephora VIB sale video. I'm not sure that I would buy this palette again, though. I think I should have just gone with an individual color of the ambient lighting palettes from Hourglass. Obviously, I have a major pan on mine, and I love this as a finishing powder to blend my blush, highlight, and bronzer together. I have had an individual of Luminous Light, and I love that one. I like that one more than any of these shades, so that's why I feel like I should have probably just gotten individual ones again. But I do like this, and at some point I do want to repurchase Luminous Light. I've never found anything like this. It's very subtle powder, rather sheer, but somehow does leave a really nice finish to the face. I don't know. I've never seen anything exactly like this, so I do like it. This palette is $62, so I'm not sure if you should get the palette, but I like the powders, so maybe swatch the individual shades and see what you think. I will say though that I actually did not like the Hourglass blushes. I bought one and it was so sheer that I returned it because I like a bold blush. Makes sense to have a more sheer finishing powder, but yeah, for blush, for me, that was a no-go, but the ambient lighting powders are amazing. Another brand, Charlotte Tilbury. Gosh, I wish they had this at Ulta, but you know, I don't know that I'd say I recommend the Film Star Bronze and Glow because it's, I think, $68 and it's good, but it's really not that unique of an item. This is something that's more, if you want a luxurious experience when you put on your makeup, then this is the product for you. Everybody says that this bronzer is very similar to the Butter bronzer, and I concur. It definitely is. The highlight is definitely a more subtle highlight, but it is really beautiful. I put it on today and then I was in the mood for a stronger highlight, so I put an Ofra one on top. So this is one of those things, I got this when it was 20% off, so I'm very glad I got this on sale. I think full price is a little crazy for this. It's not that unique of an item, but I do enjoy having a few items that are luxurious and fancy and make me feel a little fancy when I put them on. Jacobs is another brand that is at Sephora, not at Ulta. And this bronzer is expensive, but I really like it. It's my favorite bronzer. I've pretty much determined that. This is the Tantastic Omega bronzer. I do have the one in the black packaging, but I feel like that is more cool toned and I don't like it on my whole face. I only like it as a contour because I do have yellow undertones. This one is more warm, so it works better for me. I think maybe if you have cooler undertones, maybe you would like the other one as a full face bronzer, but this just blends so easily. You do get a lot of product. I mean, bronzer is something that is more reasonable to go through than a lot of other things. You get 0.8 ounces. So that's more than double than your average bronzer. So the fact that this is $50 isn't really that crazy to me, but yeah, I mean, if you can get this discounted, it makes much more sense. So, you know, if you already have good bronzers, you don't need this. But if you're looking for a new bronzer, you want something a bit more luxurious, I do love this. Another favorite product from Marc Jacobs is their blush. I only have one. This is the color Flesh and Fantasy, and I'm wearing this today. It is, as you can see, a combination of a peach color and then a more nude. And when you put it on, I mean, it's pretty much a peachy nude, which you would expect. I would say this is the softest, easiest to blend blush I own in my collection and that I've ever tried. I do really love this. You already have a lot of blush. You probably don't need another one, but if you want something that is so finely milled, blends easily, but does last on the face, I mean, these are really good. These are definitely my favorite high-end blush. I only have one and I do love it. So that is it for my recommendations slash my favorites from Sephora. A lot of other high-end brands like Too Faced and Tarte, I mean, I can get that at Ulta. So I don't usually buy that kind of stuff from Sephora just because I'd rather get the Ulta points, but anyway. So for my wish list, like I said, I was planning on getting the Norvina palette and then I bought it at Macy's, which is all good and I'm very excited about that. So I'm not too sure. I don't have a lot on my wish list, but one thing I do have is the Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette. I know, I said I wasn't gonna buy any more neutral palettes, but I've been wanting a palette from Natasha Denona forever, and I bought the Mini Star palette, and it was one of the worst eyeshadow palettes I've ever tried, so I returned it. I've been wanting the Mini Nude, and I saw Mel Thompson, her video on it. She said it was the best out of the mini palettes. I really trust her opinion on Natasha Denona because she has a lot of high-end makeup. I'm pretty sure she has all of the Natasha Denona palettes. And she said that the Mini Nude was the best out of all of the mini palettes. So I'm thinking about getting that one. It is $25, which isn't too bad, although it is rather tiny, but I have a lot of eyeshadow, so I'm not worried about, you know, running out of it anytime soon. I've been wanting some of her bigger palettes, but none of them called to me perfectly, and for either $129 or $169, or I think her larger ones are almost $240. I mean, it would have to be the perfect palette for me to get it, even on sale. One of those things would be over $100. So I'm thinking strongly about the Mini Nude, but let me know if you have it, what you think of it. I was also thinking about the Camel palette, which is the larger 5-pan palette that is also nude. It looked similar, but I actually like the colors of the Mini Nude one better. There's more shimmers and yeah, I just think it looks more like my color scheme. Another thing I may be thinking about getting is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Luminous Light. I mentioned that I love that and I had it and I finished it up. I like it slightly better than the ones in the palette that I just showed you. So I'm not really sure, but they kind of do the same thing. So I think I should wait to get it, but I am thinking about it. The last thing that I may be thinking about getting would just be skincare refill type products. I'm getting close to running out of my favorite eye cream by Kiehl's, and they now sell that at Ulta. So I don't even know that I want to get it from Sephora when I could get it at Ulta. I'm not sure, but I am thinking about that. One thing I definitely do not recommend is buying back stock of skincare. Skincare does go bad. I mean, unless you're close to running out of something, then go ahead and get it. But I mean, if you have a full bottle of something, I wouldn't buy a full other one of a skincare product at the sale. It's probably best to wait, I would think. So I'm not really running out of anything else. And I don't use any other skincare products that are high-end except for the Sunday Riley Luna oil, which mine is over halfway full, so I don't really feel the need to purchase that. I'm not really making any skincare recommendations though, because everybody's skin is different. I would recommend though, you can get samples of skincare as well at Sephora, depending what it is. But before I bought the Luna oil, I did ask for a sample. They put me some in a little bit of a jar. I mean, it's not enough to see if you're really getting effect from it, obviously, but you can at least see how it feels, or, you know, if it breaks you out. Alrighty, that is my recommendations and wish list for the Sephora VIB sale. Like I said, I don't know that I'm gonna even get a whole lot, and you can probably find better deals at Ulta depending on where you live, obviously. But let me know, are you going to get anything, or are you going to stay strong, which is the smarter thing to do? So yeah, let me know, and thanks for watching.